Hello, blessed souls. I'm warm and cozy in my jams, my jam pants, and my big cozy sweater. Man, it was cold this morning in the Pacific Northwest where I live. Whew. Is it getting cold where you guys are? Anyway, welcome. Today we're going to listen to messages from Spirit. I also was getting a download and meditation this morning that things are going to be changing again on my channels. I don't know what's going to be going on. So just keep, thank you for supporting me and subscribing and liking and sharing and commenting. It's awesome. Even the negative comments, I learned something from it, or it's a teaching moment for someone else. We had a negative comment in my last shorts. I was out there, 1 minute I was in my home and I was dancing to Marvin Gaye, and then Marvin came through and asked me if I would do this video. And so I did. And it was really interesting that Marvin, as a medium, Marvin came through to me and asked me to pass along his message through this song that he had put out into the world. And then this person said something about that, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, but something about being another white chick trying to, I don't know. Anyway, they missed the message. And it was very racist. And I was like, I was going to block them because I was just like, we don't need that here. But instead, Spirit asked me to respond to them. My response to them was absolutely divinely, it just like flowed right out. And I thought, this world is a very interesting place. Just like, interesting, like, okay, so we're going to get to all of this, but I had this really, really bizarre thing happen to me the other day. I got a thing that said, you have a new subscriber, and the name was like from like a name from somebody I knew from a long time ago. And I was like, that's interesting. Is that them? Because then I went and looked at their thing, but it didn't really seem like them, but it could be them, but I wasn't sure. And I was like, huh, interesting. So a little while later, I saw something that was like undeniably that person. Like every time I see that thing, I think of that person. So I was like, that's fucking crazy. So if it wasn't that person, it was very interesting that it just goes to show how our brains go, that something else floated into my orbit that, I mean, was so bizarre that it was like, what? And it made me realize sometimes we have confirmation things from Spirit, but sometimes it's also a sign from Spirit, like, you know, maybe that's not them, or maybe that's, not the person you're supposed to talk to right now, or, whatever it is. And I don't know if I am or not supposed to talk to this person. I'm just saying, like, in general, I just started getting all these downloads. And lately I realized why Spirit has really been pushing me apart and away from like family and friends, because part of my purpose here is to inspire others as like a muse, and also to to be a channel, a medium, to put the messages and the signs out there for other people to find their way. It's not necessarily about me. I called it Lula's Life because it was Lula's Labyrinth forever. And I don't think people were getting like, my mind's a labyrinth and my life's like a labyrinth. Um, and so I thought Lula's Life was kind of cute and catchy. And, so I don't know if that's going to stay or not. But yeah, I was starting to realize this kind of, it feels like every time I'm trying to go back to the past, even if it's just to retrieve a memory, or I'm cooking something and a smell retrieves a memory, I was like, are they trying to get us to never, ever, ever think about our past? I mean, how is that possible? Like, how can we really move forward and never, ever, ever think about our past? It would be, I said to Alder, I said, I wonder if people with dementia, like, is it a blessing or a curse? Do they get dementia because they don't want to think anymore about anything else? Like, I'd be curious to find out the people who get dementia, if they're like super sensitives. You know how they say the good die young? I think the good die young because the good are out there always taking care of everybody else, while the vampires of the world that don't deal with their shit, that aren't working on their shit, that are always like, clawing, those are the people, that die young, I believe, because, they can only hold so much space for themselves and the world. And then it gets to a point where the window for ourselves is so small and so narrow, we can't even see anything. We're like, what's going on? It just feels like this abyss out there. I was like also getting some of Bubba's hair off. You know, it's like this kind of abyss. So thank you to Zoe, a tribe member. She had, when she was here visiting, the Four Agreements came back into her orbit. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's been a minute for me too. And ever since they were here, I actually pulled out, I realize I'm going towards the sun, but I am like, can you guys see that? The Four Agreements deck. And also, I'm taking off my big socks because when I started this, I was chilly and the sun wasn't out. And now, of course, you guys and your beautiful energy speak your truth, and my energy now it's starting to get warm in here. But anyway, the Four Agreements are just such a wonderful and powerful tool for us to recognize who we are and why we're here, and how relationships with other people can fluctuate our feelings about ourselves, about the world, about, you know, whatever. I mean, well, let's just get to them. Let's just get to them. So here are the Four Agreements. I'm putting them in order. I will shuffle them in the way they want us to see them, but I'm going to put them in order. Okay. Number 1. Well, I don't know if these are the numbers. I'm just telling you there's 4 of them. I think they have like, I think they actually are like kind of like a biblical thing, like number 1, like a testament, but if they're out of order, forgive me. So 1 is, do not take anything personally. That is one of the hardest ones because we have been programmed for so long to take shit personally. Oh, they must be talking about you. Did you hear that they were talking about you? Right? And all of a sudden you're like, they were? I don't think they were talking about me. And they're like, oh yeah, they're talking about you, right? Like, and people, I have been the perpetrator and I have been perpetrated upon by the gossip mongers, you know. I found one of the reasons why I had to let go of so many of my friends and family was because even if it was like good, there was always some gossip, some bullshit in there. And I noticed when I was away from certain people and places for long periods of time, how my behavior would go back to more like me, which is very heart-centered, love-centered, you know. I've even been around people from my past who are like, fuck you, dude. I know inside, or I know you're blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I just used to be like that because I was trying to be cool, or I was trying to fit in with my family, or, you know, so, you know, I mean, I remember there would be times, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but have you ever been in a conversation and people are talking or whatever, but maybe you don't feel included, or you're feeling like even though you're there, they don't really want you there, but you're all of a sudden it's like, there's that, you know, I need to feel loved. I need to feel accepted, right? And you're like, yeah, did you hear the blah, blah, blah? And then they're like, oh, no, who told you that? And be like, you know what I mean? Then you're included. I mean, it's like talking around the water cooler at work, right? At school, everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be accepted. Nobody wants to be bullied or put in an outcast. But that's part of the fucking program. That's part of the program. You know what I mean? Like, if people are talking about you or talking about other people, you know, what does that mean? I mean, I don't know. Lately, like, it's been, I think, a week now, or almost a week since Alder has been staying in a tent on the property, and I've been staying in here. The house still isn't done. And because we haven't seen each other, you know, I'm like, oh, so what's going on? Or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll start talking about something and I'll be like, oh, and it'll be good. But then like one or both of us will be like, remember when they did that though? It's a good thing they're finally like turning that around. And I'm like, and then I like noticed it and I'm like, why are we even talking about that though? We just said something positive. So let's just like leave it there. But even positive, it's like, you know, when we, you know, speak something into being, that's what spelling is all about, abracadabra, right? And so it is like, if we're putting our words into like, be careful what you wish for, those things are real for a reason, because if you wish something into being, you're manifesting it. So you better be really mindful of like what you're putting out into the world, because the next one is, be impeccable with your word. What does that mean to you when Spirit says be impeccable with your word? that means no bullshit, no gossip, no, I've even been getting to the point where I love to swear. It's always been like one of my favorite things. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, because I love the word fuck. Like, I love fuck so much. It's like my favorite word. It could be used for so many different things. I love it. Um, but it could be like funny where you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? Or it could be like, fuck. And there's just so many things. So to me, it's just a word. It's more like an expressive word for an emotion that I'm feeling. And that's why I don't think it makes somebody, when they're like, oh, you must be stupid if if you have to dumb yourself down to swear. I'm like, no, if it actually just means I don't have to use big words to like impress anybody. You get the fucking point. So, but either way, whatever you want to do is up to you. It's just something I'm looking at. So be impeccable with your word. The next one is always do your best. If you wake up in the morning and this, like for me, this is my best today. This is the best I could do. I washed my face. I brushed my hair. I have been going for so many days straight. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I still have so many things I have to do today. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Also, for some reason, out of nowhere, my body has decided it wants to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed at 10 o'clock, which is kind of cool. I feel like I'm going through a massive transformation. So, but it's just, I'm in the transitional period. And for those of you who are watching this in real time, it's the 19th of September, which means we are right at the end of summer. Mabon, fall equinox is right around the corner. It's just a few days away. And equinox can be a really cool time because it's when we are half light, half dark. It's when we're the most imbalanced, right? Because when we're in the solstices, we have more light or more dark. But when we're in the spring or fall equinox, we're equal. It means it's like equal light, equal dark. So very interesting that my like body is like adjusting to this. So let your body roll with it. Whatever's going on, just let your body roll with it. Okay. And the last one is don't make assumptions. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Remember that old saying? But it's true. Don't make assumptions. You don't know those people are fucking talking about you. And even if someone's whispering in your ear and it's somebody that you trust, don't always fucking trust people. We need to get, the one thing my dad, it was interesting. There was this thing my dad said to me all my life until he died. And that was that he's like, you trust too many people, or you think everybody's your best friend. He was like, you love everybody. No matter which, like, terminology he used, it was the same thing, was like, don't fucking trust everybody, even if they're your friend, even if they're, because of course my dad's big thing was like, because my dad and my mom got a divorce and my dad ended up marrying the woman he had an affair with on my mom like years before. And my mom ended up getting together with my dad's best friend. I know, totally Jerry Springer. It goes even further. My brother married my stepsister. I can go even further than all of that, but it's just family shit, right? It's like, it's not Jerry Springer. It's just family shit. It's just people didn't want to talk about like their family stuff before. People don't want to talk about, early, one of my friends and I were talking about like the kissing cousins and like the weird shit of things that happen when you're a kid playing with your cousins and like whatever. It's fucking just, it's natural. Like you're just exploring but we have these lines, these barriers that were put into place, right? For society and for, offspring and all of these things, right? I remember one time I said to my mom, because, she's like totally into the Bible. And I said, huh. And she was like, what? I go, well, I mean, how would, if Adam and Eve were the first man and woman, then obviously she had to have sex with her sons, right? I mean, where did the other women come around? That's incest. Like nothing made sense to me as a kid. I was like, we'd learn these Bible stories and I would just like look at everybody and I was like a very, very, and they were like, you're impetuous, precocious. I can go on and on about all of these things and the titles that I was given as a child, annoying, just because or whatever. And I was like, scratching my head as a kid, like scratching my head going, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So just because somebody's your friend or your family member doesn't mean that they're the best company for you. They could be very dangerous for you, actually, for your psyche, for the way you look at things. So with that being said, today is the 19th, like we said. And also, when I was putting this together, We're in the waxing crescent energy, which is about setting our intentions. And I was thinking, oh, yesterday was a moon day. Why wouldn't they have me do it yesterday? But I had other things going on yesterday, you know? Now that I'm not doing the moon cycle readings anymore, I really kind of miss them. So, as you've probably seen on the title, so these messages from Spirit, right before this started, I heard Don't Speak from No Doubt, and the album is called Tragic Kingdom. And I took a screenshot of it because I was just like, I felt like somebody needs to see that at some point in my little montages that I make for the Magical Medium. But I just received so many downloads in just those few things. But one of the things that like stood out like it was glowing, and I knew Spirit wanted me to read this to all of you guys. She's like, it's all ending. We gotta stop pretending who we are. So it's all ending. Like it's over. Like that old shit is done. I mean, you know what's funny is not funny, haha, but like interesting, like how certain things are coming out right now all over fucking social media. I'm not gonna lie, since I've been more inward, and for those of you who've reached out to me, I'll get back to you. I promise I'll get back to you, but I'm really in my own world right now. I'm really in self-care September, and I just know October is going to be jam-packed, and so I'm kind of preparing myself for that right now, and just allowing myself to go through this seasonal change, because summer was honestly, the last year and a half has been so busy I can barely breathe. It's been amazing, and I'm so excited for our new home, and so many cool fucking things are happening, and I cannot wait to share them all with you guys. But in the interim, I'm like, I'm tired. I'm dog tired. So I will get back to you. I promise, I promise, I promise. But yeah, I have just started to see things in such a way that I know we cannot go back to the way we were, you know? In fact, speaking of, I just saw something recently and they asked somebody what their favorite movie was. Oh, Sarah Jessica Parker on 73 Questions or whatever from Vogue. It was an old episode. Anyway, and he said, what's your favorite movie? And she said, The Way We Were. And it's interesting because I thought, isn't that the issue though? You know, this nostalgia, that we get so wrapped up in nostalgia, and our memories are here. They're never leaving us unless we have dementia, or unless we have some type of accident where we lose that part of our brain and we don't have those memories anymore. But either way, it's like, in a weird way, it is kind of a gift, because if you're constantly thinking about the past and living in the past, then there's no room for the present, and there's definitely no room for the future. Especially if you're somewhere in the past where someone from your past is in your present and is telling you or making you feel as if you have no future. You're too old, or you're not gifted enough. Let me tell you something. There are so many people making music that aren't very talented. They may be great poets, they may be great songwriters, they may be, but they're not like fucking singing arias or anything like that. But people love them because it's about the message, and it's the person it's about the messenger. So don't put so much on yourself of having this perfect voice or writing the perfect book, or, let me tell you something. Write something that you feel proud of. I just posted a shorts from Elise Myers, and she talked about doing what you love, and not trying to do a side hustle, not trying to make money off of something, just doing something because you love it, doing something because it brings you joy. But if you are compelled to bring it to light to make money from it, you'll know. And the right people and the right places and the right situation will show up. I've had so many things that have been coming around my orbit lately that I wasn't sure what to do with. And then sometimes when I don't know what to do, I'll ask my pendulum. I've been trying to pull more away from my pendulum and really just getting back to the way I used to be before I ever fucking used a pendulum, I love the pendulum, but it's easy to get really dependent on it, not lazy, so to speak, but just getting too dependent on it. We need to be able to make some choices for ourselves too, and we learn in the mistakes. So it's not necessarily a mistake if you're learning something. However, I do feel like there is some connection that I haven't fully figured out what it is yet, but I feel like for all of us, there is something about letting go of the past and letting go of people from your past who aren't at the same vibration in your present. Because if people come back into your life in your present, but you're at the same vibration, that's different. Then you can start your relationship from a brand new, beautiful place because you're at the same vibration. You can look at that and maybe say, I'm so sorry about those times, or if I ever made you feel bullied, or if I ever made you feel less than, if I really truly that's where I was in my consciousness, and this is where I am now, and I love you. And and you may find that that person and you still aren't aligned, you know what I mean? But maybe you just have like a kind of meet cute, and then you go on your way, and maybe there's something else there for you guys to learn, and then you move on. But I think there's something tied into this past stuff that like is really real right now that we're not understanding how much it's influencing our present, which because it's influencing our present, then there's no way for us to get to our future. And if we're just doing the bare minimum of everything in our present, then there's no way for us to get to our future. And if we keep saying, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this is limiting me, or that is limiting me, or that, let me tell you something. I remember when I made my savings account a bill. Now at the time I could afford it. Okay, I easily could afford it, but I wanted to go on a trip, and I researched it and found out how much it was going to be. And I'm like, I am not going to put this on my credit cards. If I need a credit card, over the trip to bring it for an emergencies, that's fine. I was like, but I don't want to put this trip on my credit card. So my goal was to save the money myself. So for a year, I think it was like 17 months, I had $250 come out of my checking and into my savings. And I didn't look at it, and I didn't touch it. As far as I was concerned, it was a bill. It was once my car was paid off, I was like, well, I've been paying it anyway. And that was my logic. So I just transferred that money and I invested into myself. And I had a magical, magical vacation, 14 days in Europe. It was unbelievable. I did use my credit card when I got there because there were some things I was like, holy shit, But for the most part, I paid for it in cash. And it was a really cool feeling. And I felt like the whole time I was there, I felt free. Then it was like, it's like I had money to spend, but if I wanted to spend more, it was like, okay, you're going to have to spend money to like pay that off, but, later. But I'm just saying, I feel like that message was at least for one person. So, invest in yourself. So here are the messages from Spirit, and I'm going to roll through them kind of quickly because it's not, when they fell out, I've been kind of every day going like, Spirit, what's my message today? Is there like, what agreement do I need to work with today? It's been so helpful, honestly. And so yesterday when I did that, this whole thing like flew, did you see that? This whole thing flew out, and I was like, oh, are we doing another picker reading? I got excited because I just did one. They're like, no. So we're doing this here. And then, like I said, I don't know how and when, what's going to happen with the magical medium, if it's just going to be picker readings, if they're going to have me start doing more than that, I don't know. They may leave Lula's life as one thing. And then, the interesting thing is I'll get like so many subscribers, and I know it's like the algorithms and all that kind of stuff, but then I'll have people who are like, oh, I didn't realize like, your content. It's like, oh, it's like I have like cooties. Oh, I didn't realize you're a spiritual person. I didn't realize you could be funny and whatever, and be spiritual at the same time. And that's okay. But, that's why everything I post is like, almost every single solitary thing I post is divine, and it's divinely timed too. So I'm really just like a fucking jester. I'm like the fool in the tarot, right? I have no boundaries. I have no numbers, no limitations. I can go here, I can go there. And that's confusing to some people because we've been put in boxes for so long. So even myself, I feel like I've been like kind of peeking out of the box and like feeling like, okay, this feels good. And with Alder being gone, like we're starting to feel like we're getting into a groove of something. Now that we're just like, we didn't break up or anything. We're just like, we just needed some space, and we're not like, of course, we care about each other, but it's not like lovey or whatever. It's just like, hey, you want a hug or whatever. But we're just kind of we just need to focus on ourselves right now. He's working on this massive project right now that he's like, I just can't. And I was like, I feel the same. I need to just still decompress from this last year. So it's been really magical. And if you have a way to do that, I highly suggest, doing that. But anyway, I digress. So our first card is be impeccable with your word. Create a beautiful dream. Be impeccable with your word. Look at that. He's singing a song, playing his guitar. We were just talking about music while the birds are like tuning in. And on the back of the card, it says, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Impeccability of the word only creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Right? So when we're impeccable with our word, that means that we take a minute to think about what we're going to say. When we just fly off the handle and just react, that may not be the message that we were actually really trying to convey, right? Let me put this candle right here. I don't know. Can you guys see that? There's no way to really do it. And I've been thinking about that recently. Like, even with the mouse problem, I decided to fight. If you've been watching my face, I'm like, oh my gosh, we figured it out. They're definitely in the walls on the outside in between, which were like, fuck. So we've been doing everything we can. So when I started to feel crazy the other day, I took a rock and I just started like banging on the wall, and oh my gosh, they stopped. And then I noticed that when I kept banging, they would stop. And if they start again, I start again. And then like long periods of time, we thought they were gone. They're not totally gone, but at least, but I realized at first I was like crying and yelling at spirit. And I was like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I've been putting things all over the house and la, 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 la. And then I thought, thank you, mouse, because I've been putting stuff all over the house, because this is a time that they do try to come in. Not just in between the wall, between my wall and my outside wall, right? Like they're trying to like come in. And so I lined everything with like peppermint and like, did my due diligence. I think there's a spider crawling on me. Sorry. And I was like, wow. And so I've been yelling at this mouse and calling it names. So instead I said, thank you, mouse. I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for helping me to, whatever. And I've been kind of working with them. Oh, there, it's an ant. We've been getting these too. Come here. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Oh, no, let's go outside, outside, out. No, out, out. Sorry, you guys. Hold on. I am holding on to him. Hold on. There's no need for unnecessary killing. So I just say, thank you. Tell your friends I let you live. Get out of here. It's that time of year. They're doing the same thing we're doing. They're harvesting. They're getting ready, for the winter, and they're following, where the food source is. So I have to keep telling them no. Anyway, so you hear what they're saying? Be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. We have to be really mindful. So, now I've been like, I started talking to the mouse and I was tapping and I was just like, you need to leave and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of went into this like witchy little thing. And I think they're starting to get it because it's less frequent, which means that either there's less of them now or, there's something going on there though. There's some spiritual teaching that I can feel from spirit that's really profound. So anyway, be impeccable with your word. Sorry, I just spit. Okay, do we have any more? Oh, also, they're saying you can create your most beautiful dream or you can destroy everything around you. Yeah. So, I mean, you can either talk to somebody in a loving, kind manner, or you can, hold on. I was trying to help the ant to go the other way. Interesting too. So work with the ant spirit medicine. And mouse spirit medicine if you're called to, but the ant for sure, because it came in while we were here. So, and maybe that's for some of you to start, getting ready for the winter. And I'm getting a vibe, at least for one of you, this is a message to start getting ready early this year instead of waiting until it's too late like you've done before. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've been getting that from message from spirit too. So, okay. Anything else? No. Okay. The next one is always do your best. Always do your breast. Ooh, I wonder if that means if some of you have been thinking about getting a breast exam, go and get it. Very interesting. Always do your best. Express your own divinity, especially because there's a woman on the front of this card. So I feel like this is for somebody. And on the back it says, you don't need the acceptance of others. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you, and you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. Yes, again, from like that shorts that I just posted from Elise Myers. It's like, just do what makes you happy. Love yourself. If you love yourself, everything else will fall into place. That other shorts that I was talking about that I did yesterday about the love, when she said that, it was like, man, like what possesses someone? If you loved yourself, you wouldn't even feel the need to like go on someone's page and say something negative. I just don't understand. I don't understand that. I mean, the only time I've ever wanted to post something negative is like recently people have been doing this egg challenge where they're smashing an egg on their kid's head, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, like, why would you do that? You think that's funny? I think it's really gross when people use their children or their animals and put them in compromising positions. I was doing funny things with Alder, and at first we thought it was funny, but then I was like, am I bullying you? I don't want to bully you. And he's like, I guess it is kind of a form of bullying. So I stopped, posting stuff like that. I had some other really funny ones. This one about Carpaccio, because the way he pronounces things, we both do it. But we tease each other. Like, it's not like a mean thing, but I was like, I don't want people to think that, and not even that I don't want them to think that about me. Like, I don't want them to believe that I believe that bullying is okay. And there's sometimes where you're being funny and sometimes where it's being kind of bullying. So, be mindful of that. You don't need the acceptance of others. Let them, if they don't like you, that's their business, right? Did you ever hear that old saying, if someone talks about you, it's none of your business, or what somebody thinks about you is none of your business? It's really true. It's really true. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's so true. So you don't need the acceptance of others. You do not need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you, and you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. So express your own divinity. What does that mean to you? I feel like I want to do shorts with these or something. Okay, do we have any more? Because I feel like some of these are going to go for shorts on the Magical Medium, so we'll see. The next one is, always do your best. Love and nurture your body. Yes. Also, can we just talk about, are you guys going through like major transformations? Because I've been like wanting to eat certain things, but I eat it and I feel sick like instantly. So when I eat really good and really healthy, my body responds in kind. But if I'm, and even though it's not like a lot of sugar, even if it's like organic sugar, it doesn't fucking matter. My body does not like sugar. It doesn't mind honey. It doesn't mind maple syrup or stevia, but for some reason, sugar, refined, organic or not, it does not like it. It likes brown sugar, so just be mindful. Listen to your body. This says your own body is a manifestation of God. And if you honor your body, everything will change for you. Practice giving love to every part of your body. This will plant seeds of love in your mind. And when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely. For me, the reason why I've gotten so out of practice is because we've been off the grid with one burner for, over a year. And it's really difficult for me to cook a lot of food or we don't have, the only way we have a refrigerator is we have like these ice blocks in this refrigerator that we have to change out. I mean, it's very interesting, like, but we're going to be going in the house and everything's going to be fine. But I look forward to that. I miss my oatmeal in the morning and my fruit and my shakes and like all that kind of stuff. My green shakes. I haven't been able to do that without electricity. I tried the handheld one. It's not the same. And, whatever, but I can also say those are just excuses, right? So what are you going to, 3355. When I looked down, it was 3355. So that's our angel number, is 3355. And I'm not getting any more cards. So I have a feeling this is either going to be for a pick a reading or it's going to be for shorts. It's going to be for something. So look out for those on the Magical Medium. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're been here for a while, welcome back. And anything else? Oh yeah, there's a link to the Magical Medium, my free readings over there on my other channel. And yeah, so it's all ending. We got to stop pretending who we are. We got to stop pretending who we are. Oh, also, Spirit said for us to start making a list. This has been coming in my orbit a lot too lately. Making a list of things that you want to accomplish, like maybe in fall. even if it's just 3 things, what are 3 things you want to accomplish for fall? I don't care if one of them is you're going to rake your leaves and play in them with your kids. You know what I mean? The accomplishment is yours because it's whatever makes you feel good about yourself. You know, maybe your accomplishment is I'm going to get back into eating these foods because I know that they're better for me. You know, like the fall foods, my body's all about fall. It's my birthday, season. I'm all about fall. I love that it's fall. It like summer's not my like I don't hate summer, but it's not my favorite season. It's probably my least favorite season. And once in a while it'll be my favorite season that year, but very rarely. But fall is usually my favorite, even though it's a lot of hard work, even though, whatever. There's just a lot of joy and happiness. It's a lot of holidays and people, it's the end of the year, the harvest is coming in. So allow yourself, to put things on your list that make you feel good. It said list is good, but where is a daily activity to change? And also, if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to have more gratitude. Okay, then it needs to be a daily thing. That's the vibe I've been getting from spirit. It's cool that we want to or maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to study empaths or I'm going to study astrology. They're like, yeah, that's cool. But like, even with me with the moon cycles, if I don't keep up, I still forget, even though I was doing it every, 8 readings a month for a year and a half. And I was focused on the moon. It's like, I still sometimes I'm like, what is that again? Oh yeah, setting intentions. Right? Because it's a daily practice. So if there's something that you've gotten away from, Spirit saying it's a daily thing. Even if I saw something from a yoga expert recently that said, even if you stretch for 5 minutes a day is better than just one yoga class a week. And I agree with that. I think our bodies feel much better. And then, if you can get the book, The Four Agreements, you could probably get it online free to read it, or from your your library or whatever. But read the book, The Four Agreements. This is a great oracle deck. I mean, Don Luis Miguel. I love Don Miguel Ruiz. Sorry. Love these cards. But it was the book, and my friend Vivian. Whew, man, she's the one that turned me on to it. So check out the book. Until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you. I'll keep you posted.